It's a rainy day here at the Mills County Fair. Cold and rainy day. Don't always see that in the summertime, but still a lot of people working hard with everything going on here today. I guess just first off, tell us your name, where you're from, and some of the stuff you're doing here today.
I'm Ava Grindle. I'm from Malvern, and today is the sheep show. I show cattle, and on Sunday is the cattle show.
Like I said, cold, rainy day at the fair. Usually it's kind of hot. I mean, is it kind of a bummer?
Yeah, it definitely sucks, but, you still got to come out here and do your chores because you can't just not feed your animals. And tomorrow, maybe it'll be better, but you can only go one day at a time.
I mean, the weather sucks today, but, like you said, you got to feed them. You feed them in the wintertime when it's snowing. You probably feed them in temperatures weathers like this all the time, I'd imagine.
Yeah, through the snow, it's not very fun, but it's not that hard once you just get out there and do it. And then after you're done, you're like, yes.
So tell me about the things that you're showing here this week and kind of what you're looking forward to at the fair.
I have 2 steers and a couple of photos up in the 4-H building. My steers, I worked with them ever since May, and I walked them around my house and got the halters on them, and the fair's finally here and I finally get to show them, so hopefully they do good.
Walked them around your house, like inside the house or outside?
Outside in the cattle pen with by the shed, just going around in circles just to get them used to having to walk.
That's what I figured. Just thought I'd make sure. So with those steer, when it comes to showing them this week, what are the things that go into that? I mean, what's the important thing with showing those?
Always look at the judge. Always smile while you're doing it. Make sure that they're clean. You have to clean them up before because you don't want them to be dirty. And you spray them with special sprays to get their hair kind of stuck in place. And for showmanship, it's not about the animal, it's about you and how you present the animal to the judge. You want to make sure you're always looking at them, you always know where the judge is, and yeah, that's basically what goes into it.
How hard is that showmanship to learn? I mean, there's probably some people that pick it up right away and maybe others not so much.
Well, it helps to have your parents have experience, and I know Trowbridge, they do their thing, and they definitely help their kids learn how to do it right, and they're really good people.
How many years have you been showing stuff?
I think this is my 4th year this year, and I plan to keep on going and plan to keep on doing it until I'm out of 4-H, and maybe I'll get a job and that relates to cows someday.
You also mentioned you've got some photo exhibits as well. What can you tell us about those? What are those?
So I actually took 7 photos to be judged, and 3 out of the 7 were considered to go to state. None of them went, but there's always next year. And I do a thing called Camera Corps, and every month they give you a different theme for your photo, and you have to go with that theme, make a write-up about your photo, and then a judge emails you back and gives you tips and kind of what you can do to make the photo better. And then it helps to have just all those photos you can bring to fair, so you don't have to be like, oh my gosh, fair's in a week, I don't have any photos to bring. But it helps to have it throughout the year so you can bring them.
What was your favorite photo that you have this week?
My favorite photo was actually one of my new puppy. He was holding a stick and his paw's kind of like this, and then he has a stick in his mouth. Kind of has like a little grin on his face. I really like that photo.
What kind of puppy is it?
A rat terrier.
But that's a great picture. Before I let you go, favorite part of the Mills County Fair is?
Just having everyone together, just being here all the time is great. Just seeing everyone who worked hard and just finally get that closure of showing their animal, and you could do good or bad, but it doesn't matter. You worked really hard and your best is your best. That's all you can do.
Well, it's a wet and kind of cold day at the Mills County Fair. Not ideal by any means, but making the most of it here with Amber McClary, the County Youth Coordinator. Amber, you're in charge of the weather for the fair, and it hasn't looked good today.
Yeah, you know what? I've been telling everyone that this is a good sign. Everyone says that rain on your wedding day is good luck, so I'm going to go with rain on your first day of fair is good luck.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Hopefully it is. So talk about what's going on here today. Obviously the weather may be making things a little difficult, but when I came in, it looked like still a lot going on.
Yeah, the rain has not stopped us at all, so we kicked off the day with our 4-H dog obedience and showmanship show. Went really well. We had a bit of a rain delay, but our sheep show is off to a great start. We actually just finished up our share sheep class, which is a really cool class where the kids get to basically share a sheep and then bring it to fair. So yeah, and then this evening we've got the barbecue that the fair board puts on, and the queen crowning contest, some working exhibits. It's a full day.
And it's not the only day, of course, through the weekend. What does the rest of the weekend look like?
Yeah, so tomorrow is actually a very full day. Weather allowing, we will have our horse show in the morning, along with our goat show, followed by a pet show, and then our dog and poultry agility. We have some Clover Kids stuff, Clover Kids activities in there. And then in the evening, the Fair Board has their first evening event, which is motocross. Then we move into Sunday, which is the beef show, which is always a big one. The Fair Board has lined up a rodeo this year, which will be Sunday night and Monday night. Then, we've got swine, and then taking us into the last couple days, we've got rabbit and poultry, and then, of course, our auction and a really fun thing, which is our round robin.
What are some of those Clover Kid activities?
We have a stuffed animal pet show, so our Clover Kids can bring their favorite stuffed animal, and they get to go into the show arena and basically show it off as they would any other livestock, and then get judged. And then we have a Clover Kids static judging day. So think your typical judging day of like photography, visual arts, baked goods, things of that nature, but the Clover Kids just bring it, and it's a very low pressure environment where our county council kids actually judge them and give them feedback, and then they get to put it up in their club booth.
With the Clover Kids, how important is it to kind of get them involved and get them having fun so they can be a part of, all the fun that comes with 4-H for the years to come?
That plays a huge role, truthfully. I don't want to say that we got to catch them young, but truthfully, just with anything, the more you make them aware of it and the opportunities, the more they're going to be interested and want to partake. And again, we don't do the full-flown fair for our Clover Kids just because we want that step and that level between, but it's so important. And honestly, we have had an awesome rise in our Clover Kids numbers lately. We got some good kids that'll be rotating through 4-H here in the next couple of years.
Mentioned rodeo, something kind of new. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so that is an event that Fair Board has lined up for this year. I know there were a lot of people last year that had kind of expressed interest in seeing that come back, and so Fair Board worked very hard and got that lined up. And so I do believe we actually have a couple of our own 4-Hers that will be running in the rodeo for barrel racing. I don't know about anything else, but I do know it's a full-fledged rodeo, so I think bull riding, roping, barrel racing, the whole thing. It should be a good time.
Obviously, something like this takes a lot of work and a lot of people to make happen. Speak to that process this year.
Yeah, so I think that if anyone's ever been a part of it, they probably know, but if you aren't, it isn't just one person, and it isn't just a week or even a month of preparation. It's a year-long thing, working our extension office, both staff and our extension council, which are volunteers, work with our fair board, which are volunteers. We work on the schedule. We work on lining up events. Like I said, Fair Board lined up the rodeo. That doesn't just happen overnight. We have to line up judges. We have to find help for the shows. It's a huge process, and no one person could do it by themselves. So I'm very thankful that we have such an awesome volunteer group here in Mills County.
I know I asked you this when I talked to you a couple weeks ago, but again, the favorite part of the fair for you is?
Oh, it used to be the horse show. So I'm a Mills County 4-Her who's come back to lead it, and it used to be the horse show, but now actually I really love the round robin. It is so much fun to watch the kids get the experience of showing different species that maybe they're not comfortable doing in a competitive setting, so it's actually really fun.
Yeah, sounds like a fun time. Hey, Amber, we always appreciate it. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the fun going on this week.
Yes, thank you.
Here at the Mills County Fair, kind of a rainy day, but still a lot of stuff going on. Tell us your name, where you're from, and some of the stuff you're doing here this week.
I'm Stella Mayberry. I'm from Glenwood, and I'm doing Trowbridge, rabbits, chickens, and goats.
It's obviously a very familiar last name in the Glenwood area. Which siblings are yours?
Cole, Mitch, and Tate Mayberry, and my parents are Lonnie and Monica.
Man, so I mean, you got to deal with three brothers. I'm sure that's probably made for some interesting times over the years.
Yeah, there's a lot of drama most of the time, but now that they're all moved out, it's kind of chill.
So now you're a part of things here. Speak to some of the things that you're doing at the fair this week.
We'll be showing our rabbits or goats tomorrow, and then followed by rabbits, chickens, and our Trowbridge, and yeah.
So tell us about the things you're showing. I mean, what kind of makes them special to you, and how excited are you to show things?
I'm pretty excited to show my heifer because this is my last year doing it, or through the Trowbridge program, and David and Mary have been a huge help, and it's just been a fun experience.
For those that aren't familiar with the Trowbridge program, what can you say about it? Kind of explain it if you could.
So basically it's a 2-year program where you get to show a calf or a heifer. Usually the younger people show a calf, and then the older, like 6th grade up, show a heifer for both years. But you can pick calf or heifer, and then you show them for 2 years, and then you go into the showmanship class, and then the Trowbridge class, and then.
What has that experience in the Trowbridge class been like for you? Has it been fun?
Yeah, it's been fun. My heifer last year, Winnie, we won grand champion and first, and it was a pretty fun experience.
So did your brothers show and be a part of 4-H, or were you kind of the first one?
I was kind of the first one. They focused more on their sports and wrestling and football.
So yeah, I never remembered seeing them around at these. So I mean, what was it to you that kind of intrigued you and made you want to get involved in this?
When I was younger, I didn't love to do sports and like hang out with people, I guess, so my parents decided to put me in 4-H.
Are you glad they did, or I mean, obviously you're still doing it, right?
I love it. It's been a fun experience.
What would you say has been your favorite part of this experience with 4-H?
Getting to hang out with friends and like going through all the different programs and being a part of it all.
Now, with everything you're showing this week, they're not going to know the answer to this question. What is your favorite thing to show?
My cow.
Why is that?
That's a good question, but I just like working with her the most, and it's just been a fun experience with her.
You're at the Mills County Fair. It's a rainy day, but a lot going on. Tell us your name, where you're from, and some of the stuff you're doing this week.
Hannah Swinford, Glenwood, and I'm showing a heifer, poultry, and my dog.
So, busy week for you. First off, let's talk about the dog, because I'm always for talking about dogs. What can you tell us about your dog?
He's an Australian Shepherd, and we just had his dog show this morning.
How'd the dog show go?
Pretty good. We won obedience, got 2nd place in showmanship, and we won high point.
So, with the dog show, is it in a way kind of similar to the other shows in that it's about how you show? Or I mean, what's kind of the things you have to do well when showing a dog?
You have to find the right pace, and you have to know what they're trying to say. It's also kind of about technique and how you have to keep your focus on the judge and your dog and where you're walking. And
how tough is it to get the obedience down? Because anybody who's ever owned a puppy knows that, I mean, that's not easy to do. How challenging was that?
I didn't think it was too challenging, but the breed of my dog, they're easier to train than other breeds, like golden doodles are kind of hard to train.
What about some of the other stuff you're showing this week? What can you tell us about those?
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Are your friends making you nervous? I know it happens sometimes. That's what friends are for, right? I mean, I guess just kind of tell us what you'd like the listeners to know about the animals you're showing this week.
Stop. Trowbridge. Okay, so I do Trowbridge with Stella Mayberry. And when school started, we wrote, and Sophia Pratt, but when school started, we both joined the class, and it was Stella's second year, and we've kind of had this thing going where we're kind of competing against each other, and I'm trying to beat her, and she's trying to beat me, and she's very competitive about it, so.
I know when I talked to Stella, she talked a lot about how good the Trowbridge program has been for her. Do you kind of feel the same way with you?
I feel the same. I feel like I've learned a lot over the past few months because this is my first year, and Stella's also taught me some stuff about how to do it. And yeah.
What's the biggest or most important thing you've learned in that program? What's maybe the favorite thing you've learned in that program?
My favorite thing is washing the heifers because I think it's fun. I just like to blow dry them. I think it's fun.
Overall, throughout the week, what is your favorite part of the Mills County Fair?
My favorite part of the Mills County Fair is going around and watching the different shows. I like to be in the shows too, but I think it's fun to go around and watch and then see who wins.
Do you have any particular favorite show?
I like to watch the beef show and the dog show, and then I also like to watch the sheep show.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, we're here at the Mills County Fair. A lot of fun stuff going on today. First off, just tell us your name, where you're from, and some of the stuff you're doing this week.
I'm Sophia, and I'm from Glenwood, and I'm doing rabbits and Trowbridge.
So the Trowbridge program is something I've learned a lot about today in talking to many of your friends. What has been kind of your involvement with that? How big has that been for you to be involved in Trowbridge?
Pretty big thing because I've never worked with a cow, and it was really fun this year to do it.
So coming into like this year, were you thinking you wanted to get involved with the Trowbridge program, or I mean, how did that happen?
Well, Stella kind of said that it was really fun last year, and it sounded like really fun last year, and she needed someone to do it with, so I did it with her.
Was she right? Has it been fun?
Yeah.
So with what you're showing this week, tell us about the animals and kind of what makes them special to you.
Well, for my rabbits, we had supposed to get 2 girls, but we got a boy, so they ended up having babies, and so now we have a few. And then
Just a few?
Yeah, I've only brought 3 of them, and then I have 3 meat rabbits.
So showing rabbits is probably a lot different than a lot of other things, that you would show here. So what are kind of the things you have to do when it comes to showing rabbit? What are the important things?
To make sure like their back is like, so like you hold their head and then you make sure their back is like around, and then you need to make sure they're big enough for fair too.
So I mean, are you like bulking the rabbits up throughout the year? I mean, how do you make sure they're the right size?
You just kind of make sure their health is good throughout the year, but you want to get them as big as you can.
Do your rabbits have names?
Yeah, Daisy Rose, Kino, and Blueberry.
Awesome. Speak to some of the other stuff you're doing this week here at the fair aside from showing rabbits.
Trowbridge, and I did a static project.
What was the static project?
I did one photo this year, and it got a blue yesterday.
Tell us about that photo. What was it? What was kind of the work that went into making that photo?
You had to get, I had to get low enough to get under the flower, and then the background with it too.
What would you say is your favorite part about the Mills County Fair?
Probably showing like your animals on show day.
Is this something that going forward you're excited to continue doing?
Yes.